you're testing all of this stuff, you're not going to create a product like this if knowing you without having gone through it yourself, and you're able to speak about it firsthand. It's not like something you witnessed or something that you were designing for somebody else. You endured all this yourself. So speaking from firsthand knowledge is is cool. It makes it more obviously that much more believable.
Oh yeah, I've literally done this program probably at least 15 times repeatedly over the years, using different exercises, using deadlifts multiple times, squats, front squats. Actually, I should even mention that the one time I did it with front squats, this is kind of mind-blowing too. During that first CEO training week, I did front squats, put 185 pounds in the bar, managed to get 4 sets of front squats with 185. By the time the 5th day of this CEO training rolled around, I managed to do 44 sets of front squats with that exact same weight. So I literally went like 10 times the training volume, just by building up for this kind of training in 1 week with that weight. It was just, I couldn't believe the results I was getting from it either. So.
Wow. So wait, you just said 44 sets of front squats with 185 and 3 rep sets.
Yep.
That's a tremendous amount of squats. That's insane. That's a lot. Yeah, that's that's like 130 or 140 reps or something.
Yep. And that's literally the first day I did this on the training. I had to reduce the weight after doing 4 sets. And 5 days later, you'd think by doing that many sets, you'd be exhausted and that you'd be getting weaker. But I actually got substantially stronger and more endurance. I mean, there gets to the point where it does become too much, but I've got it basically strategically set up in order to allow you to increase the weight over the course of 5 days and increase your strength and endurance over the course of those 5 days. And I've had people go through this program and they're still even in the volume phase and they're actually hitting personal best, beating their 1RMs from previous weeks just by doing this volume training. And it's like, wow, how did you even do that? That's just awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so cool. The body's such a machine. You just if you just go at it with a lot of effort, and a real well-designed goal, it's amazing what it's capable of doing for you. But getting into that, obviously, you spend quite a bit of time in this product talking about nutrition and how important. I mean, it's key, right? I mean, if we're not fueling our bodies properly, we're really not going to make any gains. It just doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
I want you to just talk about nutrition in general, but I want you to maybe discuss the Slingshot effect a little bit, and then feel free to harp on anything else too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm definitely going to talk about that Slingshot effect because it's literally like the secret, the key to this program. As good as the training part is, and this training part is exceptionally good, the nutrition part is what really, really sets it up and sets up the conditions in your body to maximize the training program. The first week of training is, something you probably wouldn't really normally think about when you're doing a mass building program. You're going to be doing very low carb, very low calorie, almost starvation level dieting. And during this first week of training, the first week of really low calorie eating, you're basically setting your body up to think that it's experiencing a famine. Now, everybody thinks, oh, that's bad. You're going to lose muscle. And to be quite honest, there's a small chance that you may lose a little bit of muscle that first week. But don't fret, because you're going to gain it all way back and a lot more during that second week, because you're going to be doing essentially what amounts to that idea of yo-yo dieting, where basically, you've probably heard of it before, where people, they diet down, they lose a lot of muscle, and then when they go back to eating like they normally do, they gain a whole lot of fat back. With this, we're, changing the focus to building muscle. So the training is what's going to set off that rebuilding process, but with muscle mass rather than fat mass. So we're going to be dieting down really, really hard, using a low-carb diet and a few other strategic nutritional techniques that I've developed specifically for this program. But when you come out of that deprivation, that massive rebound is going to literally blow through any plateaus that you've ever experienced, because your body is ready to suck it up. Your body thinks it's in a famine. So when you start putting food back in, it just grabs everything it possibly can and stores it. And when you're doing this massive overload training with high volume and heavy weight, your body thinks, wow, I got to build muscle. This is challenging my very existence. Basically, it's an emergency situation.
Right.
So what we're doing with this program is we're creating repeated emergency situations for your body to deal with. And, I'm not kidding when I say literally this program is like threatening your body's survival. That's how it's going to view the nutrition and the training. This is an incredibly challenging program. It's not a beginner level program at all. But if you've got, a lot of training experience, you're probably already starting to get the wheels turning here and thinking about, wow, this is, it's using every single, sledgehammer training effect. It's using every sledgehammer nutrition technique and using it so strategically that you really can't fail at it. It's like, this is how your body works. This is how it has to respond. And that's what the nutrition really sets up as far as the training goes, is you're setting up that training response. You're setting up the eating response. And then, I've had people literally do this program and lose fat while they're building muscle like this. And, it's pretty rare to be able to do something like that, especially with this volume of training and this amount of eating that you're going to be doing.
Well, exactly, because, our bodies are, I've said this to so many clients over the years, when I was doing a lot of personal training, nothing to this extreme, because I honestly can say I don't think I was ever working with anyone advanced enough to probably tackle this. Maybe a few people had I had maybe more involvement in the process, but our bodies don't know it's the 21st century, you know what I mean? And so we have to fake it. That's why we do all this physical stuff in the gym, and but if you go back a certain amount of time, we were obviously extremely active because we had to be for survival's sake, and eating was probably at extremes, right? There were periods of time in life where food was abundant and life seemed probably a little bit less stressful, but then there were times where food was at was not a luxury, and you had these moments where your body just had to absorb every single thing it could because it didn't know the next time it was going to get food. So, I mean, and that's in essence what you're creating in this system.
That's exactly right. This is evolving your body at a very rapid pace, pretty much. And that's, the dieting phase really sets up everything else in the rest of this program. During that dieting phase, it's tough training. These are short workouts. You'll be done in like 25 minutes to a half hour, but you will be pushing yourself, and you will be depleting yourself, and you will be just like pulling everything out of yourself, so that when you go back to overloading, and you're overloading food, you're loading creatine, you're putting in glutamine, all cell volumization, you're doing all these things to basically reload your body during that time frame while you're loading it up with this compound exercise overload training. And, you're building up to such a peak the first 2 weeks. When you back off for the next 2 weeks, your body's still in that massive overload, cranking, gotta recover framework. And that's when you really, you can put on a lot of muscle with the time under tension, and you can put on a whole lot of strength using that cluster training. And I've got a few other training techniques in there as well that add to that. And it's
exactly.
Everything goes together in this program for a purpose. There's not one workout, there's not one set rep or exercise that doesn't have a purpose in this program. It's, I've literally distilled 23 years of in the trenches and research and, everything I know about building muscle into this one program. It's and do it as fast as possible.
Yeah, it really wowed me, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't know what I was when I first. I mean, knowing you, I should have known what I was going to be walking into. That just how many different things that you have in there that you're hitting, and there's just so many great techniques that are, all kind of smushed together inside this, effectively this 30-day window. I know with the hypertrophy training, you allude to the fact that, hey, depending on how your body's doing with this, you can do it for an extended period, after that fact. But so obviously nutrition, huge, and then you also mentioned some supplementation, which you also go into in great detail. Obviously, you are highlighting certain products in particular, but definitely particular supplements that are going to assist you, like the creatines and the glutamines and some of these other things like zinc and stuff like that. You set up nutrition. There's how do you eat for mass and your protein carb ratio and all this stuff. It's pretty darn cool. I mean, you're answering everybody. If someone has a question, it's probably answered before they even get to the end of the book, where you have a whole FAQ section, which I thought was really cool, because a lot of times that's left off of products. People have questions, even though the answers are all there in the text somewhere. But sometimes people can't, they can't see it the way you see it as the creator. But you have a whole section of FAQ at the end.
Exactly, and I've had quite a few people go through this program and send me questions, and I fully realize there is so much information in this book. It's hard to absorb everything. So when people do have questions, sometimes they stand out, and I'm like, I need to put this in the frequently asked questions section so that people can jump to that and see maybe my question's already been answered, and they don't have to wait for me to get back to them. They can figure it out right there on their own, and not have to wait on me to get back to them. And if you have a question that is not in the book and need answering, I'm happy to help too. I definitely support and follow up with this book. This is a program that it is a relatively complicated program. There's a lot of moving parts, and I'm here to support whoever's using this program. And that's one of the things that I enjoy most about what I do, is the ability to talk with people who are using my own training programs and help them out and guide them with this stuff. So that's important to me too.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, as I'm just scrolling through it while we're speaking, is you don't just name things either. You're giving detailed descriptions, what they are, what they're going to help with, from magnesium to vitamin D to calcium to all these different things. I mean, it's a substantial amount of text and obviously there's quite a bit of research that went into it to put all of this together. So just to let people know how comprehensive it is, it's not just a cool workout program. This is, like you've said many times, this is for more of the advanced, somebody that's extremely goal-oriented, somebody that's looking for something that's unlike anything they've probably ever done before, that will take their game to a whole new level. It's very, very cool. And obviously, it touches on that. I don't know if you actually say overfeeding, underfeeding. You probably get into that. But obviously there's other mass-building programs, like, Critical Bench has one. But they're all unique. You know what I mean? That's what I like about yours. There's stuff in here that's not in anything that I've seen before. That's what I like about this, is things that you put in here that are unique to Nick. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I'm all about, is experimentation and finding new and better ways to do things, and not just different or new for the sake of being different and new. I mean, that to me is just stupid. There's plenty of stuff out there that's very effective, but what I wanted to do was bring something new and even more effective to the table. So I've kind of built on a lot of concepts that people may already be familiar with, and basically structured them and meshed them into a program where every single piece has a purpose and every single piece builds on the other, so that your results get multiplied rather than just, going straight line. This stuff actually is designed to multiply your results. And that's, and like you were saying with the supplements, even with those, this is not just a supplement section that lists a whole bunch of stuff that, oh yeah, this is good for you, this will help. These supplements that I go into, they're in there for a reason. And even with the creatine, you don't just like load creatine randomly and, take it like that. You use it in a very specific way. You use it as a tool to maximize the effects, the specific effects you get from it. That's the same with glutamine. A lot of people don't think glutamine is a very good supplement. I actually disagree. I think there's a lot of ways that glutamine can be a very useful supplement, and I go into that in the program as well. And, the same with everything else supplement-wise that's in the program. You don't necessarily have to take any of it. And I'm not saying you have to take supplements to make this program work, but they really can help you get the most out of this program.
Yeah, it's so cool, and I'm just so happy to have some time with you to talk about it and just touch on it, really, because to really get a true feeling for it, you have to see it for yourself and realize it may take a few days to go through it, and you probably want to read some parts multiple times to be able to, like you said, digest it and absorb this. It's not something you can just look over for 10 or 15 minutes and have a real good idea of what you're undertaking. This is something that you want to sit down. You could print it out, but spend some significant amount of hours on the computer looking at it, looking at all the programming, looking at the nutrition, the supplementation. Really set yourself up and prepare yourself for getting results probably that you've never gotten before with anything else that you've ever done, and that's pretty remarkable. So I thank you so much. And be sure to, Nick, definitely hang on the line with me because I actually have a few questions for you afterwards. I want to get you some critical bench stuff. I thank you so much for your time, and this is fantastic. I'm sure there's people listening, people watching, because I'll put a slideshow to this highlighting a lot of the different things that are discussed in the PDF. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing people getting great results from spending time reviewing this and going at it with a whole different level of intensity. And we wish you the best, and it's been a lot of fun chatting about muscle explosion.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed.
All right, so I'll go ahead and end this call. Thank you all so much for listening. It's been a privilege and an honor for Critical Bench to provide you with another amazing way to build your muscle and maximize your results. We'll talk to you real soon.